Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah wa rabbil alameen. Assalatu wassalam ala rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ahlan wa sahlan bikum. To my Fulbe Community, Anjarama Jambe. Alhamdulillah Jamwali. My dear brothers and sisters, I'm going to talk about the Renaissance, Fulani Renaissance number 4, part 4 here. And I'm going to give you some of my thoughts about what it's going to take in order to bring us from the burning sick house to the light. And here we have a picture of the Council of 40, which our ancestral fathers used as a buffer. You have the Emir of Muslimin or Sultan. He has a council. Majlis is what we call this, or Shura also, and they help to balance the power, and they're chief advisors to the Emir. And they advise the Emir on many different things. We need to establish this, and I'm going to use Northern Nigeria in particular in this situation. They need to do this now to galvanize, because they're fractionalized to the point where they're easy targets, and our scholars there are under fire tremendously. So I wanted to talk about this issue with you. And it's important that we understand that the Fulani Renaissance cannot take place according to the way things are now. And we have to look at what we can do to stop the carnage that's going on. And we have a lot of different aspects that's happening that makes it very difficult. And so I'm going to get started on this. And okay, it's not. Here we go. I'm still learning, my dear brothers and sisters. Excuse me. Okay. My brothers and sisters, today, we stand on the threshold of a new dawn. You've seen the mechanics of the spiral. You know the price of apathy. But to understand this, you were created to be spectators in your own downfall. You were not created to be spectators in your own downfall. This is what is happening now. We're like spectators, and we're seeing us fall lower and lower, where people do not have any trust in us. The name Fulani now is taking on a criminal aspect and fear, and there's a lot of things behind that. But we need to understand the path to divine favor is not a secret hidden from you. It is a discipline waiting for you to reclaim it. We have to go back to where our ancestral fathers, how they governed, and how their piety was used to gain the divine favor from Allah Ta'ala. Reclaim your intellect by turning away from the distractions of the dunya and anchoring your minds in the truth of the sunnah. Refine your character by rejecting the chaos of the brigand and the corruption of the state, and choosing the way of the righteous ancestors. I know I've heard this many times. Many of our brothers and sisters in the Fulbe community do not understand and know their history. They don't know it. So we're in the doldrums right now. In order for us to understand which way we need to go and how we go about it, we need to go back and check our ancestral fathers and how they governed, how they acted. And this would be important because they left us a roadmap on righteousness. And we need to go back to that. Act with a purpose by building, learning, protecting the sanctity of our faith and our people. Allah Ta'ala has provided the way. The angels are waiting for people who will finally align themselves with his law. Meaning, brothers and sisters, the third condition of Iman is belief in the angels. The angels are guided by what is righteous, not by what is evil. And we have to find a way to get the Sharia installed where it's 100%. And of course, you saw my adage about this before, where we have a 30-30-40 plan and 3-year program, which take all the Sharia will be implemented. Do not settle for nothingness at the current age. Rise, take up the mantle of your heritage, and let us rebuild our lands under the shelter of divine favor. The Renaissance begins with you. This is, again, brothers and sisters, this is a very important aspect. Now, let me say this. I know there's some going to say, well, this is tribalism and everything. No, it's not. Let's look at it this way. As I told you before, we'll use the analogy of the United States. The African American is told he should go to help and assist other people's homes, but his own home is sick. He can't assist that. The Fulani is the same way. Why are you going to go out trying to help the Palestinians? You're going to go out to try to help the Pakistanis. You go to try to help the Cambodians when your own house is sick. You have to clean your own house first. This is the sunnah. You clean your own house first before you go out to try to clean everywhere else. So do not settle for the nothingness of the current age. Rise, take up the mantle of your heritage, and let us rebuild our lands under the shelter of divine favor. The Renaissance begins with us. This is again, the Fulani heritage is not about kidnapping. We have a beautiful history, and you have to learn that in order for us to be a whole again. And again, my dear brothers and sisters, you ask, what is the divine favor of Allah? Too often we mistaken favor of random chance as a lottery we are waiting to win. But here we're clearly, divine favor, a barakah, is not an accident, it is a state of alignment. Imagine a farmer who plants seeds in the sand when the sun is at its peak. He waits for rain, but he has ignored the season, the soil, and the science of the harvest. He is not aligned with the natural order. This is where we're at today. The natural order would be, you're in the Savannah region. Because you are in harmony with the Sahara and the Savannah, you understand that this is a time you plant the fonio rice. You'll know the seasons, but when you're out of sync with the natural order, you'll plant it during the hot months when you know there's no rain. This is what we're talking about here. Divine favor is what happens when your internal intent matches the external reality of your duty. Meaning, if your heart is pure, then your iman and your faith will be pure. If you talk purity, but then your heart is not, because underneath there's hypocrisy. Meaning, you use the names of Allah continuously, but at 10 o'clock at night, you're drinking, or 10 o'clock at night, you're going out to play around in the city with women and so forth and so on. This here will prevent you from getting divine favor. So divine favor is what happens when your internal matches the external. It is a blessed increase that follows when you align your life with 3 pillars. The pillars of intellect. The Fulani have always had the intellect. We've always had the great thinkers. We always had all this knowledge. You are seekers of knowledge. When you study not just to pass a test, but to understand the patterns of the universe. This is what our ancestors, how they believed, because they tied in, as you heard me talk about the last class, we tied in the cosmos with the Sahara, the stars, the history of our people, the language of our ancestors. You are aligning your mind with the Creator's design. The pillar of character. Apathy is a wall that blocks the light. Discipline is a donor that opens it up. When you honor your word, respect your elders, and guard your integrity, you become a vessel capable of holding favor. Meaning, again, Islamically, you know that. It's going to be difficult to receive the divine favor if you are outside of the fitra of Allah. Okay, so you have to understand that. In order for you to get this divine favor, you must understand the character matters in what you're doing. No one is perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody sins because we're human beings, and so forth. But we have to have that understanding. the pillar of purpose. You were not born to merely consume, you were born to build. When your daily actions serve a purpose larger than yourself, the revitalization of your heritage and care of the land, strength of our community, you'll find you're no longer walking alone. Divine favor is not absence of struggle, it is a presence of support when you are struggling for the right reasons. We're struggling because our name has been dragged in the mud. We have a segment of our population who are involved in criminal activity. We have another segment who are involved in mujahideen fisabilillah and jihad in the Western corridor. So we have a lot going on. When you align your hands, your heart, your history, you will find that the rain does not just fall. It finds you exactly where you are because you have finally positioned yourself to receive it. This is an adage that in the Fulbe metaphysic thinking is that if you are in tune with the cosmos, you're in tune with the earthly pulse, you are in good graces with Allah Ta'ala. When you need the rain will come to where you are. This is what we're talking about here. Prime example that if you guys know the early history of Islam, Saifullah Khalid Ibn Walid, Saifullah, one of our greatest general, in Islamic history. They went across. They took a path to go fight the Persians, and what happened was they needed rain. They needed water, and Subhanahu wa Taala granted them that in the desert, where there's a place where it doesn't get no rain, and rain was given to our brothers that were about ready to fight the Persians. So this is again what we're talking about. Divine favor is not just blessing you receive, it is a bounty you build. Many ask for guidance, yet you keep the doors of your life wide open to every passing distraction. You're waiting for someone to bring you food, waiting for the game to end, waiting for the right moment that never comes. This is not life of a person who has received divine favor. This is a life of a person who is adrift in the dunya. We have too many of our people, and especially our young people, and we have many who are only cared about what's in front of them in the dunya. They're not thinking about the future of the cosmos and that of the earth. This is what we're talking about here. When Allah grants you his favor, he places a shield around you. As mentioned in Surah An-Nur, this is a light that exposes the shadows of sin and keeps you from the paths of those who've lost their way. This is a problem. The drop seed method is a feta. The drop seed method is an opening of a heart. It does not come to the heart that is cluttered with trivial games or constant anticipation of worldly desire. It comes to the heart that is made space through prayer and discipline. What is the drop seed method? The Sufi in particular, you look at our great ancestral fathers, they could be sitting here and they in meditation, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala sends a telepathic message, gives them the insight to a specific solar system, they draw it out. This is a drop seed method. Or they're in a situation and they don't have a way out. Suddenly, a drop seed telepathic message is given to them, finding them their way. Okay, this is what we're talking about here. The protective boundary, the divine favor acts as a filter. It blocks the purveyors of evil from derailing your journey. If you find your path is constantly being interrupted by games and unnecessary waiting, you are not being blocked by others. You are blocking yourself by remaining in a state of apathy. What we have now, we have everybody going after us. Most of us don't fight back. And what I mean by fight back, because we don't have the means to fight back. It's okay to say me pulo, but you need to have more than that. You have to have something behind you. You have to correct that when people come after you and say, "Oh, you're Fulani, your history is this. They do not know what they're talking about. You have to reclaim your heritage and your history to explain who you are. To reclaim this favor, you must stop being a spectator in your own life. We are the Fulani. We are always have led. When we were most of the pharaohs in Tamari in ancient Egypt, majority of the pharaohs were Fulani type individuals. That goes to show you something, the divine favor from Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. You must stop waiting for the door to open and begin building a structure for your own future. When you align your focus, you will find the drop seed of wisdom arise right when you need it, not when you are distracted, but when you are working. Again, that method. Here you were lost in Sahara. You asked Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, I need to read the earthly plane in order to find my direction. Subhanahu wa Ta'ala sends you a drop seed telepathic message. The angels deliver it to you. They say, okay, the earthly pain, you go to your left, you look at your left, you measure your left arm, you see the plane. He said, you go this way to your left and you go 500 meters, say, I'm just saying, for instance, and you'll find that the area that you need to go, it's there. This is what we talk about. This is what Subhanahu wa Ta'ala gives to those who are receiving divine favor. What you should understand about your Pulo brother who's Mujahid. Part of this, brothers, we switching to now. And part of Renaissance is the brothers who are Mujahid, meaning they're fighting in the cause of Allah. Then you have the brothers who are bandits and brigands and so forth. We must understand them. As Sheikh Gumi, our cousin, said this, we must understand them. That doesn't mean we support them, but we should understand them. And I'm going to give you a synopsis of something that you have to understand. In the Western Corridor, you know that Messina is fighting in Mali. You know they're fighting in Burkina Faso. They just now hit the airport in Niger. So we have our brothers who are mujahideen who are fighting. Here's how we got to this point. You hear the Americans, you hear other non-Fulani talking about the different classes. We have different classes of people. We have people who are involved in kidnapping. We have people who are involved in banditry. This is a small amount. We have a good portion of our population involved in defense, militias from marauding government forces, which you've seen in Mali, where we have been seeing constant massacres, and in Burkina Faso, constant massacres by security forces and by Russian mercenaries. We've been seeing this. But here is a synopsis that we have to understand. We would not have Mujahideen if it wasn't for the heavy-handedness of the West African governments. The West African governments are responsible for what's going on today. They misunderstood the Fulani. We have been in jihad since 7/11. So we know what jihad means. When you come after us, what happens is you cause a storm to develop, and this is what we have. When you have constantly slaughter and annihilation of Fulani families, women, children, and the cattle wrestling and slaughter across the Sahel has caused a surge of action. Many who stayed put in their villages after they were slaughtered and burned. They rebuilt only need to have the same marauders return and finish him and his family off. Well, you see what happened in Burkina Faso. The families went back to their village after it was raided. Our women were ravished. They killed hundreds of us. Many returned back to that village. They had spies. The security forces, again, used the terror index as saying, well, we need to go back over there. The people began to rebuild their village again. They returned back a month, 2 months later, and finished everybody, killed women, children, everybody. There's nothing left. This is the delicate balance. If you live in an area where ethnic robberies have taken a deadly path, the only human response is those who are alike to band together in units. The Fulani reciprocity is great. Since you have all of this murdering, since you have all this slaughtering, our women are being taken and human trafficked. Our women have been ravished. Now we have taken action. Fulani imams expressed dismay over the lack of security, and they too began to call to arms and jihad since the state failed to protect them. The West African governments, because they have listened to the Western governments, they made money by going after the Fulbe community. When they go and yell terrorism and they go attack Fulbe community, the Americans send their money. And this is how this ugly system has fatten the pockets of many government officials who have offshore accounts, who have accounts in France and the United States. They take this money and they pocket it in their cronies also. And then at the same time, they go and create problems with the Fulani families. And then this is why we have a full-fledged insurgency now in West Africa. The Fulani imams expressed dismay over the lack of security, and they began to call to arms and jihad since the state failed to protect them. The most majority of the incidents we have spoken about. The government was complicit in the massacre of innocent Fulani villages. And to add to the mix, the government hired Russian mercenaries. As a bounty and spoils of war, they were allowed to desecrate and annihilate Fulani families and ravish our women. You want to understand why we have the Messina? Why we have roving militias? Because of this situation here. Because of this situation here. They got together now and they start, and when they call the jihad, now the West and now the West African government say, you see how these Fulani people are. But they are instrumental in creating this insurgency. So the Fulani insurgency was born from above, not born from criminality. There was no such Mujahideen groups before 9/11. Brothers and sisters, you notice that? Before 9/11, before the terrible thing that happened in the United States in 9/11, there was nothing like this. After 9/11, the Americans and the West, and then the colonial African leaders who took their government, they decided there was money to be made. So they start to go after Muslims, innocent Muslims, go after scholars. That graduated where they start to taking millions. They built security forces to go after the Muslims and Fulani in particular in the Sahel. When they begin to kill us, this caused a reciprocity among us, and we begin to fight back. Across the Sahel, the governments armed with American and IMF loans criminalized the security forces in the name of fighting terror. As the Western weaponry began to pour in to the West African government, ill-trained ethnic rivalries were energized as the government flooded the security forces with anti-Fulani sympathizers. They were now sanctioned under the government to exact revenge out of jealousy and any other types of malaise. That's misspelled there. So as the murderous marauding continued, the Fulani began to band together and retaliate. This is what we have today. They go hit, the Tiv go hit the Fulani get together, the herdsmen get together, and they go back to hit the Tiv. We have this. We have massacres that happen in Burkina Faso. The Messina comes in, finds the soldiers, and begin to kill them. This cycle has been going back and forth. The genesis of this is 9/11. Because when they realized they can make money by creating terror, and the West African turncoat leaders got money for this as well. By screaming terrorism, they got millions of dollars. And this is where we at. And I'll show you a chart that makes more sense of this. As a matter of fact, you see here, we're talking, I'm giving you the essence of this, and I'm going to go and show you a chart of what I'm talking about. Us as Fulani people, we should understand we're in the pawns of this game. This game as a deadly, we are the victims. We are the villains in this, where they went after us, criminalized us, and told us we were this. Say they start to kill us. They know we were going to retaliate. When the governments realized the retaliation was vicious on our part, then they go to the Americans, and they go to the French and the British, and they say, look, I got an insurgency. The Americans send 18, 20, 25 million to that West African government. Most of those millions goes into pockets of cronies and government officials. This is the system that we have, and this system is still going on today. And let me see here. I got the yeah, okay. I want to show you this system. Let's see. No, brothers and sisters, it's not that one. It's not that one. Excuse me. Let me go back to find it. Yeah, here we go. This is a colorful depiction on what has happened. How we got to where we are today. We have to look at the genesis of the problem, brothers and sisters. You look at this chart, you see the money flow, how it comes to West African governments. They in turn yell terrorism. They get all this money. They go after Fulani villages. They kill the families. They ravage the women. Many of the women are taken, sent across the Sahara into Europe and into the Jazira Arab as sex slaves. We have all of this going on, and it all generated because of this. It's a money making system, and this is what we're showing you here now. You can see this chart, how I drew this out to show you how the funding and so forth, how it has transpired and how this insurgency has grown deadlier because of this vicious and wicked system that the West has developed. And the African greedy leaders are accepting of this because they get money for it. So this again should give you a indication on how that is operating. And also here, I want to show you the almost time to pray here. No, that's not what I wanted here. I went back to that again. Brothers, sisters, please bear with me here. I don't see it. Okay, I don't see it here. Let me see if that's it. No, that's okay. But anyway, you got a good picture of that. And the part of the situation where we have uh, the money of the government, the security forces are also victims because, but it's they made a choice. They decided because this is a job, they take the money and they go and do what they have to do. And majority of the time, it's wrong. But what is happening to the Fulbe community is really a genocide. To be honest with you, what's going on in the Sahel, and this is why the people fighting, our brothers are fighting. You have to understand that. You have to understand that. Now, the bandits and the brigands, that's a different situation. This mutation has occurred when, again, the government didn't compensate our families, our young men. Other young men begin to go together and they figured there's a way of getting money. They left the religion of Islam and they just started to go as bandits because that's where they could get their money and kidnapping schemes. See, this is mutated and this is a problem. So again, we see this problem, and it's really a shame that we're in this predicament. Now, I got to go back to this aspect. This is something that the Fulani have been good at. We've always had a leader and we always had a council of advisors. And this is what we have to return back. In North Africa, in northern Nigeria today, I would love to see our scholars even include our Hausa brothers, our Kanuri brothers, the Yoruba, all the Muslims who are there, who are Muslims in the north. We develop a system where we pull together everybody and we begin to develop a kind of a autonomous type government, not challenging this federal government of Nigeria, but a system that gives us protection where we handle our own security. And we have to do something. We have so many scholars, we have so many businessmen, we have many aspects, teachers, we have doctors, we have all of this. So we need to have a council like our ancestral fathers had. They had a council of 40, and you had all walks of life. You had doctors there, you had astronomers, you had pastoralists, you had all of these people who advised the Amir or the Sultan. We have to return back to that, brothers and sisters. That's important. That's part of our heritage. We have left that. We don't do that anymore. And now you see our state, we're in bad shape. And more on this, the Council of 40 uh, is very important. Here I talk about the Sharia law, which I've always talked about. And this is, again, to answer this, you must define the council not merely as a body of scholars, but as a stabilizing mechanism, the very anchor that prevent this Fulani response from being blown off course by the winds of the Tubaku system or the chaos of the downward spiral. The council is a body that helps to keep our community and the Muslims even killed, mizan, in the middle, not extreme and not criminal. Keep us in the middle. This is what the functional role of the Council of 40. I articulate that the benefits of this body to our community through these specific functions. The guardians of the Aqidah, the council, and along with the Sultan, we developed this in northern Nigeria. We have one Amir and we have the council. We have selected council all across Kanuri, Hausa, Fulani. All of these be part of the Council of 40. We have the guardians of the Aqidah. That way we have the strict Sunnah, not variations of it, not extremism and not innovations. We have enough scholars who know the Sunnah, the Sunnah Allah and Sunnah of the Nabi alayhi salatu salam. So this has to be placed into practice. The guardians of the Aqidah, they have to have this. The benefit is clear. They provide a definitive collective voice that guards against the infiltration of heretical and extremist ideologies that would otherwise destroy the Renaissance from within. The banditry, the brigandage. We have the extremists, meaning they go out and they kill and they kidnap or they set bombs in the marketplaces. This is what we're talking about. The Council of 40 will help to prevent this. Now, part of this, again, number two, the architects of the cosmic governance, because the council is grounded in the cyclical essence, the study of the cosmos. Our ancestors tied in again the Sahara, the savannah, with that of the cosmos. The Council of 40 will be in tune with that. Not only we understand the cosmos, we understand the seasons, when we have our migration of our cattle, all this type of thing add to this. Because the council is grounded into this essence, the study of the cosmos. They are the ones tasked with interpreting the signs of the time. Meaning, we have Ramadan. We are Council 40. We have our scholars of Islam. They know when it's time we can begin Ramadan. This is some of the things we talked about. Also, reading the seasons by looking in the cosmos. We say, we know the rainy season is coming. This is what we're talking about. They benefit the community by moving the Fulani from reactive survival to proactive leadership, ensuring that all community actions from marketplace, trade to architectural planning are conducted and aligned with divine law, rather than by reactive, linear impulses of the Tubaku state. Meaning, again, we have democratic ways and means. We have Fulani all over the place screaming for democracy. I've challenged anyone to come forward to tell me where Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has ordered this. I challenge anybody to show me, even in the Torah, okay, in Jewish law, where it's authorized. It is not authorized. It's man-made. And they take the law of the Creator, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's law out. See, this is what we're talking about here. The scalpel against banditry and brigandage. By establishing an authoritative scholarly body that speaks with a unified voice, you create a standard of justice that is higher than the heavy-handed state. The council benefits the people by offering a path to internal order that does not require the sword of the insurgent or the coercion of the security forces. They represent the return of the Sultanate era dignity, a form of governance that is inherently protective and honorable. Now, we have to understand something. Some of the bandits are straight out and out wicked. Okay, you know that they even kill other Fulani. They'll get a Fulani dignitary like they did in the Mayate law, and they will kill them. Even if they got the ransom, they still kill them anyway. There's a time we have Mujahideen groups who engage these bandits, even though the bandits may be Fulani themselves. But these Mujahideen and militias encounter these guys, they kill them. See, and the council, the North Nigerian security situation should be taken over by our brothers, because if we could train according to where our sultans of the Messina and even where the Sokoto was trained, we would stop this. The security forces and Americans dropping bombs is not going to stop this. We have a serious situation. By establishing an authoritative scholarly body. This is important, brothers and sisters, very important. How to pose this to the Fulbe. When you present this question, encourage the brothers to visualize the council not as a distant board of directors, but as an intellectual backbone of daily lives you might frame it like. It's important, brothers and sisters, even our scholars and our learned ulama, we have to get together. We should not have any jealousy among us. Each one of us have a particular area that we're expertise in. We should be getting together with all the brothers, and we develop this Council of 40 in order to advise and set our people on the right way. The council is not a committee for talk. It is a repository of our collective memory and a beacon for a collective future. They're the ones who hold the clinical map when the rest of the world is lost in linear fog. The benefit of the Renaissance is ensuring that we remain one people. This is important. One people, okay? One Akida, one movement, guided by the wisdom that governs the stars. Without this body, we are just individual sparks in the dark. Right now, the Fulani are many. This is a problem. We have many factions here and there. We don't have a Council of 40 that would help to get this up. The mandate of the Council of 40, the architects of the Renaissance, we need this in order to help our Renaissance. We need that. Preamble, the trust of the Amana. The Council of 40 is established as a custodian of Fulani Renaissance, bound by the Sunnah and the wisdom of the three favored generations. The council exists to restore dignity, sovereignty, and cosmic alignment of our people. We recognize that our prosperity is a direct reflection of our inheritance and divine law and our rejection of brain fog of linear material systems, democratic ways and means, loans coming from disbelievers, which we should not be getting, and other things that help to create problems. The core responsibilities, the guardianship of the Akida, we talked about that. The strategic orientation, the council shall act as a community compass by interpreting the signs of the time through the lenses of the syndical cosmic order. This is important. The arbitration and justice. The council should establish a framework of dispute resolution, meaning the Messina, we had this. When the farmer said, look, Yahya and 40 of his cattle came on my property and ate up my dashin. They can go, we have arbitration, we have a court, they would come and then they would render a decision. And this is how we have to go back to this system. We have to establish justice. Right now, there's no justice for the Fulani. If the Fulani are hit in the outskirts, there's no policeman who's going to assist them. The court's not going to assist them. This is a problem that we have to solve. The stewardship of knowledge. The council is the vessel for preservation and revitalization of our ancestral scholarship. We have to go back to educating all the Fulani. Even the guy that's sitting out there with the cattle, he should be able to read the Quran in the Arabic language. This was a mainstay in all our sultanates. All the people were able to read and write. Our women and children all could read and write Arabic. Especially from the 1400s to the late 1800s, we built up the Arabic. We could speak the Arabic. We can write it, and we had schools and centers based upon that. The courts, when they rendered a decision, it was rendered in classical Arabic language. And also, and this is, again, part of all of this is part of the knowledge, and we've lost that. The principle of unity, the council should operate under the principle of the Ashura. Again, individual members may have diverse expertise. We need that. We need bankers. We need doctors. We need historians. We need ulama. We need those who are good in fiqh. We need those who are good in Sharia Allah Ta'ala. We need all of these to be part of the council. Then the oath of alignment. Each member of the council pledges to prioritize the sanctity of the community over personal and political affiliations. We cannot have a person of the council who is a absolute wicked person, who has a lot of jealousy, who also is arrogant. That we cannot have that. Maintain constant vigilance against the two-headed monster. The two-headed monster we're talking about here is the government and then the Western powers. These two work hand in hand to destroy the population. Look at West Africa in particular, even North Africa. Look at the state that we're in. We have government officials who are in line with the disbelievers, and they go to destroy the population. We have no infrastructure. Infrastructure is not working very well. We have an indebtedness. We have rising crime. We have all of this going on. We have no investment. We have thousands who are graduating from university. They can't get jobs. All of this is under this linear, paradigm, and this is not good. And uphold the cynical, cyclical, essence of the foundational framework of all policy, trade, and social interaction. So I have elevated the concept of the Council of 40 from the regional Fulani body to a pan-North Nigerian restorative force by including the Kanuri, the Hausa brothers in this vision. I am proposing a return of structural unity that defines the pre-colonial era. Move that fundamentally challenges the divide and conquer framework of the Tubaku system. The Tubaku system is, we got the Fulani here, we will do this, we will go and pay some Hausa to do this to the Fulani, we'll go to the Fulani and pay them to do this to the Hausa, and we'll have the Kanuri, they'll do this. This is what we're talking about. And as you can see, the strategic vision of the Council of 40, and you can go over this as you're in your leisure when you review this video again. The security apparatus. This is important, brothers and sisters, right here. The security apparatus. The security apparatus is very, very important. We're just suggesting revolutionary shift. Community taking responsibility for its own security. We can do this. If the Council of 40 successfully eliminates the kidnapping mafias and the renegade groups, they demonstrate that true justice is not about state force, but about moral authority. We can do this if we're allowed to develop it. And we have to develop and we have to get together to do something, because we have too many factions. And now we have a security situation that is horrible. It's in northern Nigeria, and now it's reaching into the south, as we saw now. It's starting to even reach the south. There's no end to the sight. It's getting worse. And then we got here the realities of the path and so forth and so on. So I'm about ready to close here, because I got to get ready to go to pray also. And this is, again, the renaissance of the Fulani. All these aspects is needed. And I got a few more things I want to share with you, and which is very important. You have to understand your brothers. You have to understand your brothers who are mujahideen. Here, at your leisure, you guys look at this. I gave you this from my own interpretations on what is happening now with the mujahideen, with the Messina and our militias and Fulani herdsmen, militias, and so forth and so on, who are operating now, fighting in the Western corridor. I'm giving you this synopsis. We have something I should cover another day. Now we have the mujahideen who set up shop now even in southern Libya. And you know what happened at the airport in Niger. We have all of this going on. You need to understand your Fulani brothers who are Mujahideen. You have to understand why they're fighting and why and what's going on with them. And we have Mujahideen even in northern Nigeria, because the Messina has sent fighters there as well. They're involved. So this is a chart I wanted to explain to you, and so you can get this. And you can also, our Tuareg brothers and the Fulani have made a reunion. This reunion, this union would take place way back in the Takrur region in the late 600s, before 711. The Tuareg and the Fulani have always maintained close relationships. We marry each other's women. At that time, everybody was black. Now, many of the Tuareg, are very light-skinned and so forth and so on. In those days, they were black to jet black in color. But so you have this map here. I want you to understand this, because in order for us to have the Renaissance, we need to understand our brothers, why they're fighting and what's going on with them. And this here gives you what they're doing, how they're fighting, where their strengths are. And I drew this up so you can understand what's happening with them. And I hope that helps you to discern on what's going on with your brothers in this arena. And I have to show this part here. This is the wicked system that has caused all the insurgencies. You got the Western powers here, and you got the greedy African leader. And these two gotten together here to form a wicked union, and has caused a spiral of insurgencies. It has caused kidnapping gangs and bandit and so forth, some bandit groups. And this is all designed from Shaitan. Shaitan gets to and sends messages through his demons. Demons go to the West. The West conjure up villains who they can go after. The evil West African leader who wants to get paid. He goes along with this evil scheme. He said, okay, I got Fulani in the north. I'll start to go after them. This man to the left then funnels all of this money to the man to the right. He gets millions and millions, even opens up offshore accounts where he keeps 200, 300,000 or maybe more, maybe even 1 million of that money he keeps in his own pocket. This is the system here, why we have the insurgency. These two individuals here, you have the Western powers, they're both governed by Shaitan. And you have the wicked government official here. He in turn said, okay, I'm going to go after the Fulani. The Fulani easy because they will fight back. We can call them terrorists, and I'll get 35 million from the Americans. Then they called this man up to the left. He said, okay, I agree with you. Here, you set up your offshore accounts. How much money you need for your personal? Okay, yeah, me and my family, I want to buy something in Washington, D.C. The man on the left says, okay, I'll set up offshore accounts for you. I'll put it in the name of so-and-so, so-and-so, and I'll send 3 million there. They send 3 million to this man's account. This is the wicked system, brothers and sisters, that we have. And the Western African governments know they're involved in this because it's been proven. The Congress have got in on the West African leaders in particular, and North African leaders as well, many African leaders, about how corrupted they are. This is the system here that you can see that promotes that. And a couple more, and then I will close here, brothers and sisters. Okay, I showed you that. What is this? This one here. Now, again, I have to show you this because you need to understand your Fulani brothers, what they are doing. And now we have, again, something I'm showing you, the names of groups that the Fulani Mujahideen, who they're fighting. And now they're numerous, brothers and sisters. You need to understand that because they're recruiting, and they're recruiting heavily. And we have daily Fulani young men are running to the Messina to join with them in a jihad. And now you have this, so now you can understand what's going on. And this is another chart telling you how they're organized. These are not bandits. These are not brigands. This is not kidnapping. These people here are full-fledged fighters. Okay, full-fledged. They fought the Americans, they fought the Russians, they fought the French. See, so these people these Fulani are not punks on the street. They're Muslims. These are brothers. They are Muslims who have decided to take up arms in the defense of their homeland and to protect themselves from the government. When the government decided they were not going to protect them and started to try to kill them, this is how we got to the point where the Messina came in, why we had the Fulani militias and why we had the Fulani herdsmen and who developed, and then they began to go to form with their Tuareg brothers. This is what we got today. So now you have that. You can look at this at your leisure. I drew this up for you so that you have a better understanding on what's going on, and I'm hoping this helps to pique your interest, and so you can get an understanding on how it is and what's going on. And our Renaissance is important because you need to understand your Mujahideen brothers. Here, we're not talking about yes, they're right or wrong. We're not saying that, but I always say to you this: me or anybody else, we have no right to go to a man, our brother who's sitting in Mali. His village was wiped out. They took all of the young women, 14 to 40, and he took them as sex slaves. Some of the mercenaries kept our Fulani girls for months upon months until they got pregnant, and then they threw them in the desert. This is the stuff they were doing. You can't ask that man and start to get on him and tell him he's a terrorist and he's a criminal when he had his family ravished. They killed his wife. They took his daughters as sex slaves. This is the type of stuff that's going on in the Western Corridor, in Mali and Burkina Faso, and some in Niger. But mainly in Burkina Faso and Mali, especially Mali, you have a lot of this trafficking of Fulani women. They took up the sword. Who can blame them? No one, you cannot. And if the Americans say, well, this is terrorism, how is terrorism? You authorize this, you Americans, you authorize this type of activity with your schemes, and this is what these schemes paid for these security forces and so forth and so on, and whatnot to come to ravish our women. See, so you can't turn back around and scream terrorism when the security forces that you've trained and armed and funded are going out there killing our kinfolk. This is a problem, and it's a human right to defend themselves. Okay, a human right. So, with that said, brothers and sisters, I'm very close here to closing here. I got to go to pray here, and I'll give you another segment, inshallah ta'ala. So, brothers and sisters, if there's anything else, please get a hold of me and whatnot. And I know it's very difficult, and I'm having a difficult time even getting my programs out, because you can imagine. Even today, now I learned they're ready to shut down my WhatsApp because they broke into my WhatsApp, and then they said I went to go send spam and bad correspondence to many different people. I didn't do that. And I complained to WhatsApp many times about my accounts have been compromised. I find my accounts, someone sent me a message, I'll find it in the SMS. Many times in my station, I had it in WhatsApp, I'll see 40 new subscribers. Just as I open it up, they remove all the 40. This is the type of stuff that these Tubab are doing that is wicked. Okay, and so it's very difficult for me to get a lot of programs out. I try to do my best to get the content out to you, and I'm hoping that you pray for your brother and so forth and so on as I pray for you, and so forth. And we ask Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to defeat our enemy, and our enemy right now is in position. He's hurting us in many different ways. But again, relief will come when we are right, and Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will give us the victory at his time, and we need to understand that. Okay, brothers and sisters, I will leave you with that. Until the next time, until the next segment, Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Anzarama.